Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the Firefighters Podcast. It is great to have you here with us once again. We have got an absolute game changer for you today as we welcome Oliver North, Venari Group CEO. Venari is the biggest UK manufacturer of ambulances and fire service vehicles. The amount of pride Oliver has in his team's capabilities and the unwavering faith that he demonstrates in their ability to overcome any obstacle, their innovation, their manufacturing prowess, their speed, their just passion for quality. I mean, it's all here, guys. We talk about starting, growing, and expanding an incredible business during the most challenging economic time that we've ever seen. We talk mindset, we talk strategy, we talk about the culture that has been grown in this company from day one. Now you have to earn your uniform and the commitment that creates within this incredible team that I was a real privilege to spend some time with. Ollie also shares some stuff about his morning routine, how he gets up, kicking ass and taking names first thing in the day, thinking about his competitors, pushing hard, thinking about the team, supporting his crew, his team, his company every second from the moment he wakes up. We also discuss some massive numbers in terms of the mind-blowing taxpayer benefits that are being given back to the UK taxpayer by just taking pride in our manufacturing capabilities and bringing all of these emergency services vehicles, the ambulances, the fire engines, back home, back to the UK, making them in-house and reaping the benefits of our passion, of our skill sets. We also talk about the cost of unemployment and how Oliver's moral compass has led him to make this really bold decision and taking a huge commitment to bringing so much manufacturing right back to the UK. We talk about marginal gains, Kaizen, Six Sigma, Lean, and also about how the most important aspect of any system is the people. That comes through so much, so strong during every aspect of this podcast. I know you're going to love it. It's incredible to have Ollie on today. I know you're going to take some big takeaways from this one. Once again, we are sponsored by the wonderful William Wood Watches. William Wood Watches is a UK-based brand that makes incredible fire service watches. These are made from 100% recycled fire service equipment, once forgotten, now reborn. Each one of their watches contains a piece of history. The William Wood logo represents the side profile of the 1920s British firefighter helmet in dedication to his grandfather and the years of courage he showed in the service. Head over to WilliamWoodWatches.com and check out their beautiful collection right now. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy life to be here with us today. As I'm sure Ollie would advise, buckle up for safety, guys. This is going to be a great episode, and I will see you on the other side. Oliver North, welcome to the Firefighters Podcast. How you doing, brother?
Thank you. I really appreciate it. It's good. It's just...
For anybody unfamiliar with you, you are CEO of Venari. You're a UK-based company. You make emergency services vehicles. Tell us how Venari came about.
So I've been in the fire and rescue market for a long time, since 2006, and as an engineer by trade, I'm absolutely obsessed with, number one, competing, I'd say, and number two, improvement. We were having a good chat before.
Yeah.
And I just thought, anywhere that I've been before, my previous company, we merged with the biggest fire engine manufacturer on the planet.
Wow.
And, as good as it sounds, and they genuinely regarded as one of technologically the best in the world, but there's nothing about any of the trucks that we ever built through there that I thought couldn't be improved exponentially. So I thought, I don't need that, No. So I really wanted to, and with seeing the economic state at the minute, and I've always been a fan of UK manufacturing. So
I was going to ask you about that because we've had a little bit of a walk around your facility today, and what shines through time and time again, I mean, even from your employees or colleagues or whatever, more to the point, is they're talking about this is UK made, this was coming from there. We spoke a lot about Dagenham and where some of the vehicles, their origins and the motors and stuff like that. What is it about that patriot? Do you think you're a really patriotic guy, or why do you want to bring so much of it back to the UK?
You know what, Pete? I absolutely am. I'm really proud of the...
Because we were saying how ashamed people have got. Not ashamed, but we're kind of apologising for being patriotic, but you're sort of happy to be the one at the front saying, no, we're proud of what we do. We shouldn't be apologising for it. Let's bring it back. Let's invest in our people, bring it back to the UK. Yeah,
I mean, look, UK manufacturing was known, a few decades ago now, particularly in the automotive and aero markets, I'd say, as the where it happened, where
We're
innovation.
the powerhouse. We're leading the forefront, but now it's not.
No, exactly. And do you know what? It's like any of the guys you see on the shop floor here. We are incredible manufacturers, and one thing that the UK have always been good at is manufacturing. I think one of our weaknesses may be repetition, but in terms of innovating and getting it right in the first place, we're brilliant at it. As in, there's a reason why 6 out of the 10 Formula One teams are based in the UK, and that includes the German ones,
Yeah, because it's where you see a lot of the biggest innovation. I wanted to ask you about why you think that shifted initially in terms of the big manufacturing, because are you familiar with Kaizen? Are you familiar with?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely, great. So I did a lot of stuff with Six Sigma and Kaizen and problem solving and stuff like that. And if you look back into the roots of that, it talks a lot about how the end of the war times came around, and a lot of the really innovative work that we'd utilized to keep a lot of our factories going. All of our men came back from war. We kind of said we don't need any of that anymore, because a lot of our women and family members were supporting our manufacturing process. So we had to get a lot more efficient. And obviously resources weren't as readily available, so we had to get a lot more efficient. When everybody came back, we started to drop a lot of that. And then, I forget who it was, and really, really help me out here if you can remember, one of our, it might have been one of the Americans, went over to China and helped put in place their production process, which then became Kaizen.
Okay.
And I think that was one of the big moments where, as a Western world, we kind of lost a lot of our manufacturing power. How much does that sort of mindset and problem solving, because Kaizen is effectively wanting to be one piece better than it's continuous improvement, isn't it? It's that analogy of 1% better every single day, not big surges, but that constant progressive change.
Exactly.
How much of that is in what you do?
Do you know what? I think, when you talk about Kaizen and Six Sigma and lean production and all the rest of it, the thing that drives everything, and I go on about it quite a lot, and maybe too much at times, but the nucleus of everything and the driver and the engine for everything, anything improvement-wise, is culture.
Yeah.
Culture. And, if you've got a team who are as driven as what you are and want to be, they're proud to wear the brand on the chest. They want the brand to be the best in the industry. And we've got a concept here where new starters come in, you don't get issued your corporate wear straight away. You've got to earn your brand, and it's
love it.
It's a little bit like I was in the military back in the day, some time ago now. But you have to earn your stable belt, you have to earn your berry, and it's much the same thing. And the guys here, they wear the brand very proudly, and I'd absolutely. Without question, hand on heart, say it's the best quality of vehicle builders that I've ever worked with in my life.
I wanted to ask you about your military background, because this is where, because I'll be honest, we get a lot of people request and sort of express an interest in the podcast, but I don't really want to go and do that when it's really authentic. When I'd heard about just another massive company, this, that, and I was like, yeah, it's probably just somebody that's seeing an opportunity. They probably know nothing about the emergency services. They're not a frontline person. They've never been on the front line or anything like that. But then as I looked into your background, that's where you're quite rare, because you actually have an authenticity, because your first sort of adventure into working life was in the military. You were like 16, 17 when you joined the military?
17 when I joined, and it was, I lived with my grandma when I was a kid, and I was not a particularly, thick set or anything. I was a bit of a
spindly man.
Uninspiring, visually uninspiring. Let's say, So do you know what, they do a good job, and I know it changes. Everything changed over the years anyway, but they did a really good job of teaching me the basics.
I think I remember reading something about it was like a character building moment. Wasn't one of your first deployments in Germany or something? Yeah. Where you got a right good shoe in on day one or something as the guards on the front gate. What happened there? Just
minute one, you walk into the thing, they see this spotty little Herbert with a stupid Yorkshire accent, and they think, the first thing, I was told to do is pick up a cigarette bud off the floor and put it in the bin. But
just because you're lower than everybody else?
Yeah, and I was absolutely the new kid, and this guy is one of the gate guards. So he gave me a good pasting on my first day in the camp.
Why? Because you refused to do it?
Yeah, I told him where he could stick the bud.
Fair enough.
But the and then
if you don't do that, though, you're going to get ridden the whole time.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Without question. But do you know what? It's it intensifies the homesickness, especially as a young kid. But if I didn't have that, then there's no way I could take a lot of the stresses and pressures of business in this modern day. As in, what used to be called character building.
Yeah,
is
we
now
talk about
called
character building, we talk about conditioning, and even in the emergency services, we talk about banter and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and now we moan sometimes. I hear it, in the fire service where standards have lowered and our people aren't the way. Well, yeah, but we've created that beast because. Look, I get it. People hear some of your stories and they think, "Oh, hang on a minute. So Oliver was bullied when he was." Well, no, he wasn't necessarily bullied. He placed him. He could have left at any point they wanted to. We're in no way encouraging people to make people feel uncomfortable, hurt anybody, for anybody gets upset. But we've got the pendulum swung too far. Yeah. We're almost too apologetic in so many environments. We're not giving anybody any. We talk a lot about exercising before we came on. We're not giving anybody any resistance socially to push against, morally to push against. So they're not going to build strong morals. They're not going to build strong values. How do you do that? Because you've spoken a lot about culture in your business. How do you keep hold of that? But keep the HR people happy, because I know there's a lot of smiling faces around it. Even when I wasn't stood with you, to be fair, I was speaking to a few members of your team. It's not like they were doing it because the boss was there.
Yeah.
How have you harnessed that?
Do you know? I think like you said, first and foremost, no one had ever, just because I've gone through the character building stuff myself in the past. We would never ever. No.
I didn't see any butts outside. I didn't see nobody picking up butts and getting a pasting at the front door.
No way, and never would it happen. But
no, of course.
But I think.
But you've got to build culture in the 21st century, so how do you do that?
Exactly. The culture here is, earn your stripes, earn your brand, and, the quality of finish, the quality of, the speed at quality, as in we build here as fast as possible without sacrificing 0.1% in quality. So as long as the quality is 100%, one of the things that I've seen time and time again throughout this industry, countless times, is... that'll do, it won't do, The other thing I always say is, the most advanced piece of technology on any fire truck, or any ambulance for that matter, is the firefighter or the paramedic.
Yeah.
As in, that is the own, a fire truck is there to carry the firefighter, and that needs to be remembered. That's the nucleus of any design. As in, you've got 6 firefighters on an appliance, then you've got a fighting chance. Yeah. As in, I've got nothing but respect for the UK Fire Service.
I thought that, because when I looked inside your vehicles and stuff like that, your crew cabs, as much as it's not necessarily about being comfortable all the time, but yours seem to have been designed more so. I've been in some really bloody uncomfortable Power Rangers, to be honest with you, where you can see the seating arrangement, everything else has been specifically built for the BA set and for the other kit to make sure it's all comfortable. And I can't believe some of these are on the road, because they felt blooming dangerous. Do you know what I mean? Like, they'd only just remembered to put the seatbelt on before they rolled it out the door, and nobody's really thought of the comfort of the ride of the firefighter.
100%.
And I swear to God, there must have. I'm sure there has been. I'm sure we're not going to name any of the brands, but when I first came in, some of the trucks that I was sat on there, I was like, no, who's passed this?
Exactly.
I'm sitting on a piece of steel. But yours feel like they've been built around, as you just said there, and it's great that you said it. They've been built around the person. Everything else is just a performance enhancer for the nucleus, which is the person.
Exactly. Yeah.
Where did you come up with that focus? Because surely I don't see it common. So why is it different for you guys?
Well, we were talking before, Pete, weren't we, about marginal gains and personal performance. And when you bear in mind, as we're all aware, that the firefighter is the single most important piece of technology on that appliance.
As is with a paramedic or a police vehicle or anything like that.
Exactly, without question. So a marginal gain for them, would you give them something that's easier to wipe down, easier to clean, that is just made of rubber, or would you give them the comfort that if they're riding around in something all day,
how are they showing up mentally?
Exactly.
If you're creating a good environment for them, so they're arriving in the right frame of mind.
Yeah, exactly.
They're riding them in an uncomfortable seat with kit they can't reach, with stuff that's not talking to them.
Yeah.
And again, a lot of this, other companies must have been doing it though. A lot of this, I feel like it comes from. You must have been having that Six Sigma, that Kaizen mindset of efficiency. Well, why is it there? How often does the firefighter use it? Can't it be a foot closer? Is this thing in the right orientation? Do you have any operational crews, paramedics or firefighters involved in the design process of yours?
Without question, as in the first place where we go, we've got to set the moral compass and the technological compass at the person who's riding the appliance. It's not, in all due respect, the chief foresters have got a lot to do. Of course they do, but
they're signing the bills.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
I haven't seen it up until a few years ago. Till anybody was, I perhaps was never important enough. I don't know, or I just wasn't in the right situation to get asked. But I felt like you've been into these emergency services shows and stuff like that. And the emergency services is great. We've got them coming on in a couple of weeks' time. But I don't feel like the firefighters or the chiefs that were there, certainly the chiefs officers there, they haven't been on fire engines in like 20 years. And I get a lot of the fundamentals haven't changed, but we've had new equipment come out and BA sets have changed and thermal imaging cameras weren't even around when they were on the crews. So you do have the firefighter, the person on the ground, the end user integrated in some form or another with the designs.
Without question. And, when you look at someone at the absolute top of the game, look at Usain Bolt, you look at Mo Farah, you see the movement. The movement, there's no juddering. Everything is just fluid, seamless, and it's to watch it in slow motion. It's elegant, but it's the same with a firefighter. They need to ride there in comfort and in maximum safety. But then once they deploy and they take the self off the appliance, like you're saying, the thermal imaging camera, everything, the ergonomics, the intuitivity of the appliance.
I love what you said about the ergonomics, because I see in differences some of your positioning. Is we've had some that were just like lockers and trays, and I know a lot of vehicles are lockers and trays, but they were putting some stuff in some random places, and you're like, who's assessed this? I'm not. I mean, I'm a fairly strong guy, but I'm like, this just cannot be in regulation for lifting. Whereas your stuff seems like there's a lot more thought gone into it, because our firefighters are all shapes and sizes now, and so they should be. And it feels like there's a little bit more thoughts gone into where yours are as to how we need to utilise the equipment when we get there. Yeah,
and it's that seamlessness, from deploying from the appliance to the incident.
Yeah.
And again, we're talking about comfort, keeping the firefighter protected. And
small things that make the big difference, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly, and more fluid, and so they don't have to think about that. They need to be thinking, mind on the job and what they're going to be doing.
That shouldn't be extra noise that they have in their head. Didn't you actually ride one of the green goddesses? Because you talk about the end user, and you've spoken about it a lot, but it only twigged to me when you were talking that you've actually been on the appliances as well. You rode the green goddesses with part of the military, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. I mean, you say appliance, in inverted commas, I'd say.
Yeah.
And let's face it,
I never went on them. What were they like?
They were wood. They were wooden.
Okay.
and they were very slow, But the one thing that worked on there was the pump.
Yeah.
And they were a very slow way of getting a very poorly trained crew around, for the strikes in 2002. So, we had a great relationship with a crew in Lancaster.
Yeah.
I was as a lance corporal, I was the 2IC on the thing at the time.
Okay.
And so we used to take them beers down and we'd sit with them, on the.
I always had a lot of respect when I saw the military ones out on there, because it's just a job. Do you know what I mean? I think when people think, and I'm not going to get into union stuff or any of that rubbish, but people feel rough about the strikes when there were people that did strike and didn't strike. But as far as I'm concerned, the military aspect of it was like, all right, you guys have got a problem. Until you've sorted it out, we'll step in and sort this out. We're not on anybody's side. Do you know what I mean? So I had a great amount of respect for you guys stepping in. Did you get to go any good jobs or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, the kids that week, they'd been setting a lot of car fires, and then we were waiting for the tasking coming through on the radio course. But this one evening, the gate guard had come in, and he said, "There's a fire up on top of the hill." So the sergeant who was in charge of the Green Goddesses said, "Right, everyone on there." And then our PPE was Gore-Tex. We were in waterproofs. Yeah, but I ran up the hill to shoo these kids away, and I says, stand back from that and all the rest of it. And I just presumed that they had set fire to this
another
thing.
car fire.
Yeah, so then one of the lads took the branch and I extinguished the car. And then, this was early hours of the morning, about 3 o'clock in the morning. And as the smoke started to die down, I noticed there was someone in the driver's seat. And
no way.
Yeah, and it was...
was that the first fatal you'd seen?
Yeah, that was the first fatal I'd seen at the time, definitely. And
they look weird, don't they?
Yeah, it certainly did. And it really surprised me, as in... As strange as it sounds, we were expecting it. We were expecting that week. I didn't expect it for that very shout. I just thought it was another one of the car fires. But
how did it happen then? Did you ever hear the background of it? Did it crack, or did the kids set it on fire, or was it?
No, it was a suicide.
Was it a suicide? Was
it? it contributes massively to my respect that I've got for the fire service to deal with that kind of thing on a day-to-day basis. So
it is rough, isn't it? I mean, we speak a lot about onboarding trauma. The fire service has got a lot better at appreciating the mental aspect of the job, but some people think, oh no, you can either do it or you can't do it. You know what? Yeah, you can do it, but you're still onboarding a lot of trauma. You're around people all the time that are going through really distressful environments.
Yeah.
Just because it's your day to day, you thought, well, member of the public having the worst day of their life. Yeah, but you've got to be with them. You turn up there and you're around somebody that's going through it is going in.
Yeah.
It's always going in. Now, you've kind of had this as well, though. I mean, I know you had a bit of it in the military, but if you feel comfortable talking about it, you've had some real challenges personally, because I mean, you've still got your brother's still around, I think, but you've had some massive challenges. When did you first lose? I think you lost your mum, didn't you? Yeah,
so I set up North Fire in 2008. My son was 3 months old at the time, and the business was a month old, and my mum actually died very tragically. She drowned in a river.
She drowned?
Yeah, in a river next to her home. So
how old was she?
She was only 53. She was a very beautiful woman, actually, my mum. And obviously, every son, absolutely worships the ground.
How did she drown?
It went down as accidental death, and what had happened that night, we'll never know. But I found her a couple of days later, actually, when we.
You found the body?
Yeah. So I jumped into the river. Yeah.
Was she reported missing or how?
Yeah, she was.
How did you find her?
She was a misper at that point, and then. When the police said they were going to put a helicopter up in the air, I went for a run around.
Yeah.
I thought
she's here somewhere.
She's got to be within.
She's struggling. Is she dead? Is she?
Yeah, within a mile radius. But that one was. So that
you
was
jumped in the river.
Yeah.
Did you just see her floating then?
Yeah, she was floating there. It's kind of like it's a nightmare. As in
Jesus.
When you have a nightmare when you're a kid and you're trying to wake yourself up. I was trying to wake myself up, So I jumped in and pulled her out. But that was on the Sunday. I was a one-man band at the time, and North Fire was as even younger than my 3-month-old son. So that was on the Sunday. On the Tuesday, we talk about putting your problems in a box. I had to completely fake it. If I hadn't have gone out and performed. Yeah. Then the mortgage would not have been paid.
You've got a mortgage to pay. You've got,
and I've got a son to feed. And I can remember on the Monday.
How do you do that?
I can remember on the Monday evening. I was sat in watching Oscar asleep, and I just think it's maybe a bit of an animal instinct where you have to feed him. If I didn't go to work and I had an appointment booked the day after at the Isle of Man Fire Brigade, actually, so I had to be at the airport for 6:30 in the morning. On the Tuesday morning, and you're going through that is trauma, as in, we talk about on the Green Goddess, you're expecting it, and you're around your guys who your team who are going through it with you.
Yeah.
When you don't expect something like that, it's the biggest test I'd have ever put myself through. But I had to, I grieved in private when I needed to grieve. Performed at work when I needed to perform, and it was the most challenging, I'd say, 6 to 12 months of my life. But I had to do it, otherwise my son wouldn't eat. And
how much do you think the fact, like, so you just didn't give yourself that choice? You didn't give yourself the get out of, kind of like painted yourself into a corner, and then even though it was only a month old in the company, your son was only 3 months old, you'd had so much stacked on you. What did you ever think? Just let's just knock it on the head. That must have gone in there at some point.
It went in there, but I thought, what am I going to do? It's kind of like not waking up at 5 o'clock to go in the gym. Although very different, of course. But it's kind of, what are you going to do? What's your alternative? As in, do I jump in there? Do I just make an active choice not to feed my son? As in,
or just go on the dole, or just this, or
exactly. Just, So I thought, no, I've got to drive forward. And she wouldn't want me to be struggling, So like I said, I grieve for in private, but my work ethic remained the same, and if I was employed and if someone else has got, ever went through that kind of thing and are employed, take the leave.
Yeah, you give them the time.
Yeah, take the
but
leave.
Again, it's also about authenticity. Do you know what I mean? I hope your employees or whatever listen to this, but you never ask somebody to do something you're not willing to do yourself.
Exactly,
you know what I mean?
exactly.
You hold yourself
Yeah.
personally, financially, responsible, physically to that standard. And that's where the authenticity comes from. Do you know, I'm not asking, if you don't want to do it, that's fine. I'm not asking you to do something I'd never do myself. Do you know,
exactly.
It's the cleaner in the morning, I'll make you the cup of tea. Do you know what I mean? Let's get out on the lads. I'm not going to ask you to do something.
And you know what? It's, I'm a big fan of these Attenborough programs. If for nothing else, just to, nature is where, where it's at its rawest, and I could remember a couple of years after I watched this program where this lion, in this Pride of Lions, I genuinely lost. I don't know if it was the sister or the mother. But he had to hunt the day after. Because if he didn't, he would have starved.
He was going to die.
And everyone would die. And I can remember watching that, thinking, maybe that was my mindset at the time. I don't know, but.
I think of it the same, and I'm gonna flip the script, but stay with the animal environment, because I love the one about how long we give people to get ready to. I mean, you guys are in your first year still, or moving into your second one, and you could so easily forgive yourself and say, it's going to take us a few years. We need to get. It's okay. It's only first year. We need to get ourselves going. But when you think about nature, I think it was his old Zig Ziglar one or something like that, where he said, "How long has the antelope got to run with the herd?" About an hour or a couple of hours. Do you know what I mean? Why that? Because the lions are over there. And if you don't get up and run, they're going to eat you, because if they come here now, we're going to run. And, holding yourself to that standard and not letting yourself off and going, but COVID. Yeah, but it's our first year.
Exactly.
Yeah, but no, you know what? Raise the standard.
Exactly.
Raise the standard, guys. Stop letting yourself off.
Exactly, yeah. And, in my case, don't feel sorry for yourself, as in...
it's a choice.
Yeah, what my alternative was, do I take pats on the back and more, consolation, words and all the rest of it?
We'll give you your job back, Ollie. Come on.
Exactly.
Well done. You had to go, didn't you?
Or do I go back to being miserable and employed and working for someone who inspires me less than 1%? I would never do that, So I took the hard choice, and fortunately it paid off.
Love it.
Absolutely.
I wanted to ask you, sort of take us back to, because we spoke about your time in the military.
Yeah.
What made you, because you were only in, well, not only, you were in for like 5 or 6 years,
Six and a bit years, yeah. 6 and a bit years.
What made you want to come into Civvy Street then?
Do you know what? I was one of those that I was promoted really quick in the
I know you were, because you have been quite successful. I was looking into the research of it, and you were like a boxing champion in there as well.
Yeah.
It looked like it was going really well.
No, everything was going well and did go well, and it's one of those things that when you're in there, it's a comfort blanket that's there, and you think the comfort blanket's always going to be there. But I was in Germany, and these the camps at the time, they become your world, and you have to, I don't know if it's a problem, not my problem. My maybe quirks is I'm competitive. I'm stupidly competitive. So
you used to go really against me though. Like kids didn't want to play with me when I was
at
school, because I was like, what are we playing to? We're just playing, Pete. No, who's going to win? Let's keep count.
Exactly.
Oh, we keep count? I'll keep score. Yeah.
Exactly.
And that it really did push people. I'm still very competitive now, but I can temper it in the right environment.
Yeah.
Do you still have that competitive aspect then?
With any single thing I do,
Because you've got a son. I mean, he's 12 now, so
12. Yeah. So Oscar's 12, but
do you still beat him every day?
He's got the same thing, and we've got these VR things now, so we could have a boxing match on an evening in a different room,
Beautiful.
And he's as competitive. So when I was in the military, I was doing well. I was being promoted at a good rate, and then my troop commander had offered me to attend Sandhurst as a
your officer training.
Yeah, to do officer training, and. I didn't go to university straight after school, so it was, it's classed as doing it as an exceptional soldier.
Okay.
And he was going to be my sponsor for that. But the
that doesn't happen. Does that happen anymore? Because like you've said, now you have to go through the unipath to the officer path.
Yeah.
Easy. I imagine it's a lot rarer, although it sounds like it was still fairly rare when you were in. That you had to be an exceptional soldier to be sponsored, i.e. have a mentor, coach, somebody who believes in you and they're sort of giving you the tick and saying, like, I'm speaking on behalf of this individual. So that's a great compliment, but it still wasn't enough to tickle you into it?
No, to be honest, Pete, I thought if I take that, then, that's going to be me until 55 years old. And,
I'm committed then.
Yeah, and I kind of... So, but I was in two minds. One day I was going to do it, one day I wasn't. And I went down the route of not doing it, and I was Tipexing my trainers white one day, which is as a army physical training instructor, your trainers had to be whiter than the colour white. So we Tipexing, and I just thought, right, I clearly made the wrong decision here.
Something's gone drastically wrong.
Yeah. So I thought.
What did your family think of this? Did they support you in your desire to want to leave, or?
Well, my mum, she just imagined attending, pass out parade at Sandhurst in a really fancy hat and crying her eyes out. But to be honest, look, I think the military's good, as in when I finished basic training, Princess Anne was the inspecting officer, and it's all, I've got so much respect for the military, as in it was such a grounding, I would have done exactly the same thing now, but rightly or wrongly I decided to come out. But I thought, if I'm coming out after turning down officer training at Sandhurst, then I need to make it count. I have to come out and
I better deliver something here.
Yeah, so I came out, and if anything, shifted up a few gears, as in
was there an aspect of, to interrupt you, is that you kind of like you had to move as a group in the army, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
I feel this sometimes, and I love the fire service, but I'm like, sometimes I feel like we slow down for the slowest person in the group. Do you know what I mean? It's that if we went out for a walk, it's that subconscious thing that happens. We either speed up for the fact, or everybody slows down. Yeah. And in society and stuff like that, a lot of the time we all slow down, and there's nothing wrong with that. We don't want to leave people behind, but somebody's got to push forward. So when you were released from the military, you say about moving up ranks, did you feel like, boom, the chains are off? Well, if you're going to do it, go on, Oliver, show us what you're doing. Go on.
100%. And one of the drivers was an old boss of mine who was a major, but he was a time served major, so he'd been through every rank from the very bottom, and a talented guy in his day. I think he was getting a bit bitter as he was getting older, and he said there's only two jobs out there, and one is McDonald's, one is Sainsbury's, and obviously they're both very good jobs. I'm not saying anything else, but he. So when I came out, I thought, I wanted to emulate. I wanted to improve my own position, and improve your own position.
Yeah, lots of ways to do that.
So many.
What's your metric? Yeah,
exactly. And it's not purely financial, is it? But
no. I've found that like the last 3 years, it's been a big shift. Trying to think it's all about financial. When you talk to people about bettering myself, and they're like, oh, what does that mean? Is that another 10 grand a year? I'm like, no, not really.
Exactly.
It might be my family, it might be my personal health, loads of things.
Exactly. I mean, the fact that I think the thing I'm best at in life is, and this is only a self-assessment, is fatherhood. I think I'm a better father than I'm a businessman. But if the metric for testing a business is, like we were saying before, Usain Bolt knows how well he's done according to his personal best by the numbers he posts in business. It's a similar thing, but there's so many other dynamics that go with business. So what's the turnover, and have you seen Simon Sinek's book when he speaks about the different metrics of business and the finite versus the infinite game? So we're number one. On what metric? On what metric?
On turnover, size of company, number of employees. What's your metric? Who agreed that was the metric we're going on? How much employees love coming to work?
And I love that.
Do you know what I mean? If you've got massive turnover financially, but you've got massive turnover in staff, who's winning here? You're making money, but people are coming for a short while, making a bit of money and going, God, I hate it here.
Exactly.
Whereas, I mean, this is something I really wanted to ask you about, because as I was sort of speaking to people coming around the company today, the amount of that, I said, I don't want to work with Oliver, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, they actually came from the old company. So and we've said before about, people follow people, people buy people, they don't buy products.
Yeah.
You've obviously grown that, and maybe that echoes back to the whole fatherhood analogy, because these people have followed you. I mean, you're not the be all and end all, but there's clearly something you're doing well in terms of engaging with these staff.
Yeah, I mean, it's really flattering that you've got this global giant who are turning over more than €1 billion a year. And people who've got a secure job for the rest of their life, as far as they're concerned, are leaving there to join a startup, which Venari was at the time. You know, so and then, you know, another competitor down the road where, you know, as you're saying, what's the definition of success? The definition of success is, for me, you know, respect on the shop floor as much as I respect everyone on the shop floor. And when you're talking about, you know, that same global leader. And I would not say, you know, some of the people who say even the cleaner joined, and I have to pick that up because you can't say even the cleaner as in the cleaners. Yeah,
what, like the lower
she's exactly. She's absolutely amazing. But, you know,
it's the old astronaut analogy, isn't it?
Yeah.
When the guy was like, "What do you do for a living?" And he's like, "I put a man on the moon." Because the person that's mopping the floor, that was, so I mop the floor so no bacteria gets into the capsule, so the capsule doesn't get any bacteria when it goes to the moon. I put a man on the moon. I put a person on the moon. Yeah, you did. Just the same as it comes to what do you do here? We make, you know, the number one merchant vehicles in the UK, in Europe, in the world.
Exactly. Yeah.
Really? I thought you mop floors. No, I don't.
Exactly. And she is very much that. And do you know what? When I turn up to work on a Monday morning, I make her a cup of tea, and that, you know, that's any of my guys I'll tell, and I don't do it as a patronising thing to say. Yeah, I make the cleaner. You know, I make her a cup of tea because I'm having one, and she's the only one, you know, as crazy as me to be in at that time in the morning. So I'll make her one. But, you know, we throughout the team, you know, the administrators, the shop floor guys, they all came, you know, and we, because, you know, we've got that purpose, and you know, I've got a quote on my office wall that says, people don't follow titles, they follow courage.
Love it.
And, you know, they left the title of this global leader. And we've got other guys that have come from, you know, UK market leaders. They left the security of that and the time served and the accumulation of service for the courage that we've got here. You know?
Now that must inspire you, but is there also an element of like fear, maybe, and pressure that comes with that? Because, you know, you've got somebody going, "You're not gonna mess this up, Oliver," because I'm taking a real gamble on you now. Don't mess this up because I'm actually a bit scared. You know, I've been with them for 10 years. I've got a great pension. How do you handle that pressure? Do
you know what? And the worst part is when they don't even say that, and they pat me on the shoulder and say, "Oh, it's brilliant." You know, to have the excitement of being part of a business that you are going to drive forward. You know, and it's kind of you take a bit of a gulp, and in private, of course, you think, you know, I better not cock this up. But, of course, I never, you know, I wouldn't go home. You know, I'd as much, as much blood, sweat, and tears as it'd take to, you know, to get the company where.
I know you would, but you don't want it to be that painful. How do you remain so optimistic? We've spoken a lot about you know, mental resilience before we came on. Is it something from the military background? Is it something from, I know, your personal challenges with your family? What gives you the resilience to keep going when you're facing some of those, you know, because I mean, we're not even going to go into necessarily, you know, COVID and craziness that we're into this year, but you guys have done some massive things in a really short period of time.
Yeah.
How have you kept pushing through the setbacks?
Do you know what? I think everything's a frame of mind, isn't it? And a state of mind. I think a lot of people have said, 2020, you see these memes going around about how, you know, what a shocking year it's been. But as far as I'm concerned, as in, you know, first and foremost, look, COVID being the most tragic things when it comes to the loss of life and stuff like that. It's the worst thing. However, in terms of personal development and things like that, when people say, "No, 2020 is like," and then there's a funny image, as in, it's given us a platform to say, right, not only are you going to start a new business that's already a big risk, not only are you going to take on, you know, a big new factory, big new facilities with all these people, you're going to do it now with one arm tied behind your back.
Yeah.
You know, as COVID's given us, you know, so it's kind of like, you know, you could throw in the towel, couldn't you? But, you know,
I think it cuts out a lot of the rubbish, to be honest with you. I've had it. And if I use like a fitness example, we had a British Firefighter Challenge. First time I went to one of the UK ones a few years ago. Loads of people are really fit. Okay, we're all really fit. Everybody gets that. Business analogy. Everybody's got some money. Yeah, okay, everybody's got some money. Everybody's got an idea. Yeah, we've all got an idea. Ours, everybody was fit. We all had the kit. But on the day, it was really bloody hot. It was like 38 degrees, right? For UK, really hot. For anybody that's listening, 38 degrees is very hot in the UK. And people were just flaking. Do you know what I mean? They trained all their fitness, they trained all of that. But when I train, and I'm not the fittest guy out there by a long stretch of the imagination, I've had some firefighters on, but I will train in like 3 or 4 hoodies and the fire kit and the mask every time. And people are like, why are you doing that? That's unnecessary. It's really uncomfortable. And we said before we came on, because I'm like, look, the harder you are on yourself, the easier life is going to be.
And I love that,
for you guys, yeah, okay, you know, let's say 50 companies could have done what you've done in a normal year, and then maybe 30 could have done it during some of the economic downturn. Then maybe 10 could have done it during COVID. Then maybe 3 could have done it in their first year, plus. Do you know what I mean? And that's why I think it must be so hard to acknowledge that, because looking on the face of what you've done, it's really, really, really impressive what you guys have done in a short period of time.
It's good, and you know, we talk about these challenges, you know, and as far as I'm concerned, you know, we're a new business, we had new things set up. It's leveled the playing field, as in, you know, we talk about these global and domestic market leaders. You know, my peers at those places, they haven't been through what I've had to go through. They've got very privileged backgrounds. You know, they've got, you know, so I kind
People think it makes them stronger, but it actually makes them weaker as well. You put them in discomfort. They're not used to discomfort.
Exactly, yeah.
They'll drown.
Yeah. And
I talk to people about taking someone into deep water and drowning them. Not like a horrible way, but people struggle. Because when we're on land, we're all Santa plush office. Oh, it's nice. When you go out and go, I'm doing this by myself, and they're like, God, at least go out in the cold. Let's all watch him die. And they're like, oh yeah, okay, fine, I'll be fine.
Exactly, you know, and you know, when you're in the trenches, and you know, when it's time for a business to be in the trenches, I think that's when I'm happiest. If I was on a yacht and the sea was crystal clear and it was time to lay down and bask in the sunshine, I would hate that. I would be so bored. But if the waves were smashing my face and we were wondering if this little yacht can survive it, I think
got that on one of your walls. We saw it as we went round about ships. You know, the ships and harbours are not designed to be in harbours. They're designed to be in open seas.
Yeah, and I think you know, it's a good test. You know, you've got to stretch its legs for, you know, to see what, you know, how far you can go. But you know, it's kind of, when we talk about, you know, again, Usain Bolt, what are his times that he posts and all the rest of it. Judge a businessman by this year. How much has he stepped up? You know, how much has he been there? How much has he cared for the business and his people? You know, and you know, how much has he cared for his employees? Because at a time when they're thinking, oh, is it all gonna? You know, I had an obligation to go out and to win contracts, and not only win contracts, but you know, then on the other side, when we're delivering it, make sure it's better than anything that's ever been. Not just, there's a supply chain problem, so it's crap. You know,
there's a lot of people, like you've said, the big industry leaders that people think, they've got all the contracts. Yeah, but they're comfy. They're comfy as well. So now, when the RNHSs and all and we need to respect, this is the public's money to a certain extent that we're spending. Times are hard now. So when they do turn around to that massive corporate, you know, 50, 80-year company, whatever, and they go, okay, so what are you going to give us for money again? And they go, you know what we're going to give you? We're the industry leader.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you what you're actually going to do for it, because it's really important. I'll tell you what, forget that for a minute. Oliver, what's Venari going to do? And you'll go, I'll tell you what, this is what we're going to do. Let me break it down for you.
Yeah, exactly.
1, 2, 3. Then we're going to give you 4. We can move on 4 if you want. We can move on 3. And they go, oh, okay. And the other people are sitting there whilst you're signing a contract and going, what are you doing? Well, we're going with the person that's giving us a bit of respect. They're hungry. They're going to lean in. They're listening to us. Because actually, we don't just want that same one that you've had for the last 80 years of forecourt. We want a few different requests because the industry's changed. Our demands have changed. I need somebody that's going to listen. Do you think that's the comfort versus your ability to adapt? Has there been anything in that's been the big differentiator?
Yeah, I'd say so. And you know, I suppose another similar analogy, I think I can remember being in the army, and I thought, I'm living in a 4-man room that has carpet that'll be 20 years old. That, you know, I can remember we once got these beds delivered to camp, these new beds, and we were, you know, to coin a fire brigade phrase, you know, these are Gucci beds as far as we were concerned. And I asked the storeman, I said, why have you got these new beds just turned up? They were clearly second hand, you know. Yeah. And a prison in the UK, we were in Germany at the time, a prison had gone on hunger strike because these things weren't fit for human use. Jesus. And we inherited them as the military, and we were happy as pigs in the proverbial. Yeah. So you know, so I can remember taking mine and physically carrying it. But you know, I used to always think in the military, if the army spent as much on their own guys and their accommodation and the facilities as what they did on the marketing budget for recruitment, then the recruitment handles itself, you know?
Yes, absolutely. It's too busy looking out.
Yeah,
trying to get people in aren't getting fed. Do you know what I mean? They're malnourished in terms of engagement, morale. Do you care about Oliver? Do you care about me? Give me a second. I'm just talking to the purchaser. I'm just talking to
exactly.
Well, I'm just going to leave. To be honest.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, you go around the factory. We've been around today. You see the facilities. The nucleus of the facilities for me were to care for the employees. So the employees have got. You know, we talk about the comfort for the firefighter and marginal gains. You know, I want my guys to eat in a very clean and very, you know, a pleasant environment. I want them to have good changing rooms, good showering facilities. And then equally, when they're on the shop floor, you know, you see their motivation in spades.
Absolutely,
you know?
absolutely.
And it's not there's no gimmicks whatsoever, as in I look after them and they look after me, and we're an absolute.
There's a real
family.
sense of friend. What blew me was though you like dropped into different languages as we were going through here. You know, you really connect with your staff, and it goes deeper than just employee employer.
Yeah,
you know, from the handshakes to the high fives. It was a real. Nobody seemed to change gears. Do you know what I mean? When you entered the room,
exactly.
Exactly.
And it's. The other language that I speak, as in when, you know, if we've got a Polish guy like our livery guy is originally from Poland, and so I'll say hello to him.
Have you specifically learned that?
Just for him.
Have you really?
Yeah.
I didn't know when I first heard that because I obviously knew you'd been in the military because you're based in Germany. I didn't know if this was something from then.
No. That's as in. I just wanted to know how to say good morning. How are you, my friend, in Polish? So
you know what, we're so ignorant as British. I really want to learn sign language. We've got a wonderful woman in my service, and she's taught me several things. And I've done some little videos for our sort of public community safety stuff and stuff like that. But I'm like, I really want to learn it. Do you know what I mean? Because I obviously don't want to learn enough, otherwise I'd be having a tutor. But I really want to, because I feel like. People say English is the language of the world and all this. We're just being ignorant. Come on.
Yeah, I find it lazy.
Some people speak such great English and they've never been here. I'm like, God, I was so lazy.
Yeah, I spent
so
a lot of time in Austria and Germany, you know, and I was listening to this audio book, but, you know, I could learn how to say, I can park here, but it is not practical in their own language. But I could never find the time to put it in. So maybe I was terrible.
You didn't make the time.
Yeah,
that's all it is.
Yeah,
I've walked into
rubbish. No. I've walked right into that. I should have found the time. I should have persevered. But you know, at least if I can do something in broken, and I'd always make.
It means a lot to the person as well.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
for them,
true.
When they know you've taken the time to do that.
Yeah.
The first thing's a bit weird for me the first time you do it, but then they're like, oh, that's kind of like our thing now.
Yeah,
it really means a lot to me.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? It's the difference.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you about. Because we spoke a little about that balance in time there. I wanted to ask you about the physical and the mental health, because a lot of my guests we speak to about how do they get the balance, and for somebody like yourself, you've gone through some massive stuff in this last year. You've got a young family. We've spoke a little bit about your home gym before we came on, because I always try and get into that if somebody's got it. What's your routines? How do you balance? Because you know you're in shape, you do exercise. How have you kept it a priority? Because that's the big crux for a lot of business people. They struggle to maintain that, and even for a lot of operational crews, you know, their fitness can be the first thing that slips. How have you kept that balance?
Well, firstly, sitting next to you and you telling me I'm in shape, I feel like a fraud, but bloody hell. But do you know what? I get out of bed as early as I can this morning. If I'm not going to our factory in East Yorkshire, then I'll get out of bed about 5:30. But I go, you know, as soon as I wake up, I do a roll. I get out, so I can't talk myself into staying. And then, you know, I get in there and I feel like I'm getting a head start. I know my competitors. I know the names. I know the faces. You know, I know them well. I think about them in the morning. And you know, I go down. I take an espresso. I've got my music on, my headphones, and you know, as stupid as it may sound, I'm getting ready for war as far as I'm concerned.
I'm the same, man. I feel like I've won already. Do you know, when I'm up early, and what's your sleep like? Because some people feel like, oh, Ollie's up at R5 or Pete's up at R5 or 4 or whatever, something stupid. I used to have this really bad approach that was like, oh, sleep's the cousin of death, and sleep's the bad thing, and we kind of glorified it, the person working 23 hours a day, you're rocking it. Yeah. You know what, you're not, you're stupid.
Yeah.
You're not working effectively. Are you good with sleep? Do you balance it? Because you get up early.
I'm brilliant, as in, last night I'd have been in bed at 9 o'clock asleep, but...
How do you discipline yourself? Because you're a busy guy.
But do you know what, I think I'll get as many emails done as I can, and then, it's like... Again, going back to the military, that you have these room inspections in the morning. They intentionally set your tasks that you haven't physically got.
You can't get it all done.
You're gonna get absolutely.
There's a maths test like. Is it the military maths test? I've been one where you cannot. It's designed you can't finish it. It's like 8 pages.
Yeah.
How much can you get done in 10 minutes? And most people only get like halfway through the third page.
Yeah.
You can't get it done.
But do you know what? You know you're not going to get it done. As in, you've got to have a cut-off time. So last night I thought. And when I get in bed, if any thoughts try and creep in, around, don't forget to do this, don't forget to do that, are you worried about this tender result and all the rest of it? You cannot contribute anything when you're asleep or when you're in bed. Take it off your mind. I take it out of my mind. I imagine it's in a box downstairs, ready for me to take it to the car and take it to work. Get your sleep. And then as soon as I'm up in the morning, I think about my competitors when I'm in the gym. I showed you my gym that's not patchy on yours, but
no,
I get
like
I get the boxing gloves on and back to a bit of military boxing on the bag, and as long as I'm absolutely blowing and covered in sweat, a nice morning routine, then I know I'm one step ahead of them, and I try and stay one step ahead of them for the rest of the days in marginal gains from last Monday, and so on and so on.
Talk to me more about that. I hear you say about this box analogy. What was there? Because I was taught something by my coach a long time ago that because you've got children, you've got a son and partner and stuff like that. You don't want to take your stuff home with you if you can. I mean, I've got an office at home, but it's about I'm trying to separate things out and stuff like that. And somebody said to me a long time ago that when you come home and you've got everything from the day, everything's on your mind. When I get out the car, and we've got a tree out, we've got a few trees out the house, but they said, take your problem off your head and hang it on a tree. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Hang it there and don't take it in the house with you. When you come back out in the morning, take it off, take it away with you. Because I always ask myself, how would the best husband, how would the best dad for me walk in that house? Yeah. How would they? Would they go in and go, give me a minute because I'm busy, she's going to study? And blank stuff. They've been waiting for you for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 6 hours since you got home from school, whatever. Yeah. How would the best, or would they walk in, bang, eye contact, hey baby, how was your day? How did you see yesterday? What'd you get up to? What was the best bit? What was the bang? Which bang? How did you come up with that box analogy, putting it in a box, taking it with you in the morning? How did you not forget stuff? Because I have to write everything down. I'm terrible.
Do you know what? I may well forget it. As in, I do write things down in my notes in my phone, but it's the same when you come to work. If you've got problems at home, don't bring them into work. As in, people do, and different people have got different psychological methods or whatever.
That's different though. If people need support on that, yes, work has a bit of an obligation. We want to support you, mental health and all that sort of stuff. That's great, but it's your choice to be bringing it here and bringing it there. You don't have to take work home. You don't have to take home to work.
And do you know what? If you're at war and you looked at your sergeant major and he was sweating and crying and rubbing his head or scratching his head and he looks absolutely perplexed and panicked, then so would your team. Your entire regiment of soldiers would also
the mirror.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So that composure at work and that putting everything in a box when you get home, as in when if you were to ask Oscar, my son, is he having a stressful time at the minute, he would have absolutely no idea, because the first thing I'd do is rugby tackle him, have a little play fight, and then I always, everything at home has to be good. Everything at work has to be good, functional, and improving.
I love that. I always say to people that you've got your home's got like your fortress. You know what I mean? Yeah. You're the queen, the king of the castle. You've got to have it. That's got to be solid. Otherwise, you're building your house on sand. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And I'm sure you see it far more so than I ever have in businesses where, on the surface, it looks great, but the CEO, the director, the whoever, the shift manager is not happy. Do you know what I mean? And it's corroding at home, and it's only so long before the ice gets thinner and thinner, and it cracks and bleeds into to the rest of their life. Now, talking about getting everything done, fire service and all emergency services are a typical example. The job's never done. Of course. There's always going to be another call. So you guys are on a massive journey, and we've spoken about the metrics. How do you know if you're the best? How do you know if you've gone the furthest? You guys have got some great places to go over the next few years. How much of it is about the journey? Because like I say, even going to your day-to-day analogy, it's not about getting everything done by the end of the day. It's a journey. Do you know what I mean? We're always on the sprint. I'm back up in the morning and it's a sprint. You're never supposed to get it all done. Where's Venari's journey heading now?
Do you know what? Venari, first and foremost, the company was set up to acquire. When I left the fire market initially, I was, I had a non-compete agreement, so I imaginatively went into the ambulance market. But I went in to turn around a struggling company at the time, and it was one of very few British manufacturers left.
Yeah.
The economic benefit for the taxpayer is just exponential. If we manufacture these public sector funded assets in the UK, it's literally exponential. They say £2.45 for every pound spent with a UK manufacturer like us. So then,
just break that down, because I read it. I had to read it 3 times. So just saying that quickly, that might be lost on a lot of our emergency services operators. Tell us what usually is happening, and we're not blasting any particular brand out there.
Oh, of course not. Yeah.
How does that work again?
So let's talk about the ambulance market for ease, because
it's the biggest one. So or I feel like it is.
Yeah, and I suppose the NHS England need to buy 3,500 ambulances over the next 5 years. An average conversion price, so forget the chassis, the brand at the front of the vehicle for now, of about £50,000. So if you times that 3,500 ambulances by £50,000, that's 175 million.
That's what I got. That's what I got as well.
Yeah, and it's not written down as well. I'm glad you watched me do this. I know the numbers. I'm not a mathematician, but but then if you times that 175 million pounds worth of spend, that would be with, let's say that's with a UK manufacturer.
Yep.
Then that times £2.45 is 428.75 million in revenue generation for the UK economy.
Yeah.
And it's, again, we go back to
you think a quid's a quid. It's not. It's going into our economy where we're going to re-spend the money because it's going into
with
our
the
jobs.
Local shops, with local suppliers.
Yeah. People forget it perpetuates out everywhere.
Yeah, it's honestly exponential. And once I saw these numbers, that's what really drove me to leave in absolute comfort. Before, after, I was leading a European company that was manufacturing overseas and importing it into the UK. And
were you have these same awarenesses when you were there? Because not like nothing was going wrong, by the way, but not like you knew this was going on, but. That was the way. That was the way. We're doing it here because it's cheaper, but you weren't thinking longer. Is the fact you've gotten older, or the fact you've gotten kids? Why do you care more now, or how have you become more aware of it and the importance of it to you? Why has it changed?
Do you know what? I've seen so much unemployment, and a lot of my friends have gone through unemployment and all the rest of it, and I think and then I look at and obviously I'm not the government and all the rest of it, but if I'm a business leader, which I am,
absolutely,
then I should be doing everything in my power to drive UK employment.
Got to take a bit of responsibility.
Yeah, exactly. So it's I had to do it. I saw everyone knows Dennis, and JDC when they closed the doors for good, and they were a competitor of mine, and being a competitor, I should have thought, many people would have thought about their own situation, thought, well, I've got a bigger slice of the pie for myself. I didn't for 1 minute. I just saw the fact that 100 British jobs had gone.
It's sad, isn't it?
Really
and that's
sad,
the thing.
really sad.
Competition's healthy.
Yeah,
I think this sometimes. I had it when I was competing quite high level in a sport. When one of my counter team members in the other team graduated to the next level, he became 18. He wasn't in the under 14, so he wasn't in there anymore. And he was like the best. And it was like me and him. And it's a little bit like that. When that person's gone, then you're quite sad. Do you know what I mean? Like the Dennis company, we're going to crush them. But then when they go, and you're like, Jesus, actually they don't want to kill him.
Yeah,
you know what
exactly.
I mean? It's quite sad. And then you see it because the cost of unemployment is massive. It's not just I ain't got a job no more. No, and his family and his mental health and his mortgage, and he's not going to spend his money in shops, but also him or her. Do you know what I mean? They must have attached so much pride to, I worked for Dennis or I worked for whoever. Do you know what I mean? They've not got that anymore. The cost is huge.
Yeah.
Whereas we were just looking at, well, how much is it? Well, it's 80 grand from Europe, or it's 50 grand from the UK, or vice versa. Now we'll go there instead. It's got to be bigger than that, but it's a big decision to do that.
Yeah, it's a big decision, but do you know what? It's if you go with your moral compass, every time, if it's set to not my surname, north, as in, then karma's going to come round. As in, it would be a different thing if you said, well, let's look at Austria and Germany.
Yeah.
How many UK manufactured fire trucks and ambulances do they operate? I'll tell you the answer now. It's 0.
And if you said so, why not? They go,
because
why would we?
And I have asked that question to loads of the chiefs over there. Honest, and
it's not his business. Do you want to pitch to them? Look, we're doing quite well in the UK. Do you want us to? They'd be like,
but they say no because our taxpayers pay for it, so it's got to be built by the taxpayers of here. And it's kind of.
And they're like, is it not the same in the UK? And you're like, no, to be honest.
Yeah, but then
we don't seem to care in the same way.
We should not be in an entitled position anyway where we say, well, we're British, therefore, we should be given the business. We should be fundamentally better.
We should want to as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we should be better. And like you've said, Formula One manufacturers, everybody's coming over here. We have got the ability. Let's just believe in ourselves a little bit more, shall we? Let's stop trying to go overboard and go, oh, but they've got the best stuff. No, we're pretty good.
We're brilliant.
We're really good, all right?
We're brilliant.
Let's believe in ourselves a bit more. Let's stick together. Let's invest in ourselves.
Yeah.
And we might even surprise ourselves.
Absolutely. As in, we were working very closely with Ford on a project. And through the COVID response, the government, we needed more ventilators. So Ford teamed up with McLaren and Airbus UK, and they increased ventilator production by over 2,000% just by putting their heads together, putting a concerted effort in, and that was for humanitarian use. So the significance and the importance of having UK manufacturers in the, obviously in the UK, we need to be self-sufficient, and not for.
What a cool group of room to be in as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Sat in a room full of those people. When we talk about value of association.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's the people. Not just for a financial perspective, just for the ideas and the creativity and innovation that's going on there.
And the talent that these companies have got is immense, and to see that and to replicate the processes and things like that, but whilst keeping a smaller company mentality and the culture to every single individual, not. We'll give them a free piece of fruit or something like that, in the office, as in, genuine culture and I genuinely care about every single one of the team, so that.
I wanted to ask you more about that value of association, because I think whilst I've only referenced it 2 or 3 times, it's clearly when we've spoken around this sphere of culture and being in the right room with people and stuff like that. How have you done this in your personal life? Because I've spoken to a couple of people operating at different levels in businesses who have found that to be one of their most challenging things. I know we spoke before we came on about people that have been part of your life at one time and not in another, and how for you to do the best for your family and for yourself, because I know I speak to listeners, and this is something people really struggle with when they're going through challenges in their life. How have you kept your value of association personally, people that are in your inner circle, whether it's family or friends, as you've risen in your stature in life, your socioeconomic level, and you've gone out and done something huge now by yourself? How important is it you to surround yourself with people that are like-minded and supporting you?
Do you know what I think? It's not an uncommon thing to see that when success comes, then more people turn up with it as well. But it's like our group foreman here, a guy called Rory Wild. He was my first employee in 2008 at North Fire.
2008?
2008, yeah.
Wow.
He was the first guy in at North Fire, and he was my first guy in because I needed someone who I knew, without any question, had my back. And me and Rory have grown up as brothers. We were babies. His mum used to be my childminder. I was 6 months old, and he was a newborn. So we've grown up as brothers, but we joined the military on the same day, and now he's the group foreman here. As a good complementing factor, he's absolutely brilliant on the tools, and he's got OCD and very good in terms of a vehicle builder. However, drive.
With all due respect, that's fairly irrelevant, because some people are like, can he actually do the job? And you're like, you know what? he will learn to do the job, whether he can or he can't. And I say this to people, I'd rather have somebody I can trust with the right mindset. If they've got the right mindset, the skill set will come.
Exactly.
If they're hungry enough, and we speak about being hungry and hunting in a minute, but if they're that way and you can trust them, people can learn stuff. They can learn stuff.
You cannot teach work ethic. You cannot teach it, and you can't.
You can try and condition it.
Exactly.
But in this world now, as we've already alluded to, people are discouraging the conditioning of mindset and work ethic.
Absolutely.
So if you haven't got it,
it's
hard to get it now.
And one of the things I hear is this: work smart and not hard. As in, what about working smart and hard at the same time?
Why was it want to do that? Why do we sacrifice? You kind of threw the baby out with the bathwater then.
Yeah.
We went from, okay, I don't want to work 24 hours a day. But let's not say, I remember the 4-hour work week. You must have read that book.
Yeah.
Loads of great efficiencies in there. But I have no desire only to work 4 hours a week. I don't, because I love what I do.
Yeah.
And I like, kind of like the pendulum swung a bit too far with that.
Yeah, without a question. But no, going back to the the inner circle when it comes to work. Rory, we're still best pals outside of work. He's the godfather to my son, and I'm the godfather to his son. But then the people from my previous place, I don't need to say the name of it, is they all came here. We're genuine friends, which makes it a good. If you have a look at any, a firefighting, the best crews, on an appliance are those that are genuine. If they're friends and they know that they can trust each other, which
things like when crews eat together. We talk about doing drills and stuff, and going into a hot fire training together. And I get it. But you know what? If the crews don't eat together, I can find personally there's a big void in a team. Do you want to go in the gym together? Yeah, you could go in the gym, put some headphones on and run on the thing by yourself. Or we could do a bit of a circuit. We could train together. We could eat together. We could all have our own little lunchbox. Or we could have some, fajitas together.
I love that.
That sort of side of it. Yeah. People think it doesn't really matter. I'm like, it really does.
I think it does. As in the canteen here, I eat, I'll be sat next to a coach builder and a valeter. And that's genuine. And I can show you, any of my competitors would not dream of being in the same room as their.
They talk about separate kitchens, and they're like, oh no, I'd like to have something in my office so I don't have to integrate. Why would you not want to?
Those who eat together win together, innit?
That's it, baby.
I genuinely think that, and it's a good thing, yeah.
So tell me about the origin of Venari, because we've spoken, and for anybody that's not familiar with it, it's not going to be a surprise to them when we go into your willingness to acknowledge the value of obsession and that hunter mentality and that competitive edge. Venari, Latin for to hunt. Where did that come from?
Well, as you said, Venari is a Latin word meaning to hunt. And when I went to a marketing company at first, when we were first looking at the brand and all the rest of it, we did the insight session with the design team. These are very sophisticated design agency, and the vast majority of the people in the room, they all came up with he's a hunter, and they all came up with a lion kind of analogy. I suppose that's the way that we do things, as in, we are competitive. We want to win, but we want to win at quality. We want to win at value for money. We want to win at, the customer is the absolute king. I want to, if we can contribute 0.5% to a firefighter being more efficient on the front line, then, we, or however high that number can be, we will do everything within our power to do that. And I've worked, unfortunately, in environments where people say that'll do. The words "that'll do" will never be said here.
No, and it's the bit where having that as the number one driver, because it's the difference in the authenticity that you say as well, because you know what it's like to be that front line. Do you know what I mean? You've had the difference that you've been on the military front, and you know what it feels like when someone hasn't got that best interest at heart. But people forget as well, they're here to hunt and stuff like that, and they think, oh, you mean at the cost of somebody else? Like, oh, you're going to beat somebody else. If you don't hunt, you can't provide. Do you know what I mean? If you don't go out and get these UK contracts, somebody's going to get them.
Absolutely.
This needs to happen. So you can either do it with good morals, good values, UK born and bred, trying to provide something for the UK service, save us some money, still do a great job, or somebody else is going to do it. I say this to people in the fire service. When I see a really great firefighter, crew manager, whatever, I'm like, you should go for a promotion. And they're like, nah, man, that's not what I'm about. I'm not climbing the tower and stuff like that. I said, look, if you don't do it, the bad ones will do it. If you don't do it with a good compass, then the bad ones will do it. And then we'll moan, as we do, about the guy or girl we don't like because they're really a horrible person, and now they're assistant chief, or now they're chief. Yeah, it's because the good guy didn't go for it.
Yeah,
and that's what I see when I hear you're a hunter. Yeah, it's competitive. It comes from a good place. You know what I mean? You've spoken about investing in your staff and investing back in the UK market. You've got to be hungry and able to do that.
Yeah, as in, look, we could have taken the easy route. We've come in straight away. We've had a strong start, and it's only going to get stronger. But the money, the financial element, we're reinvesting back in more sophisticated machinery, and in more machines. Staff training, involving the workforce, evolving our capability, and that's the key. That's the absolute key for me. So
talk to me about evolving that capability. I want us to close out talking about some of the massacres. I was looking before I came in. You've had the B types come out. What is coming next? What have UK emergency services, be it paramedic, police, fire service, what have people got to look forward to coming out in the next 12, 24 months in terms of technologies and vehicles?
Well, in both our divisions, we've got a firefighting appliance division, we've got an ambulance division. In both of them, we've got true game changers that come out at the start in 2021. And
bold statement. Game changers. Hit me.
But complete game changers.
Okay, come on.
As in, we can't say too much about it.
Okay.
At the minute, as in, we've got signatures on paper that say we can't. Say
there's some legal ramifications.
Yeah, but
tell me when we come off.
Yeah, I will do.
But there's some big exciting things happening next year.
Yeah, really big. As in, it's about improving what is the current standard. Number one, it's certainly evolution and not revolution all the time, but it's nothing less than what firefighters and paramedics deserve.
Yeah, I love when we walk around the factory earlier as well that you've managed to pivot in a really great way this year as well, because you've done loads of COVID support as well, and that's it kind of makes sense because of your manufacturing abilities. But there's a lot of companies that haven't necessarily done that. What made you want to get out there and support the NHS with some of the testing pods and stuff like that? Because you could have just stayed focused on what you were doing because you've got your own problems to worry about rather than everything else. Yeah,
I mean, look, we were approached by a customer of ours, and we supported, the government on some projects around the COVID support significantly. It's something that I won't shout about or market for the. That's
why I was surprised when I walked around the factory because I hadn't seen any of it on the website. To be honest, the support you've been doing with the testing facilities.
I think for the simple fact that it's. We built that out of necessity, and it's kind of highlighted the fact that if we didn't have manufacturers in the UK, we wouldn't be able to do this type of thing. So it's for us. It's kind of we can showcase our talent, number one, but the number one driver behind all of it, without any question. Much like Ford did the ventilator challenge, they didn't do that to make money. They did that purely because they have an obligation as a world-class manufacturer to execute that for humanitarian.
But like you say, from a future perspective as well, it now, I suppose, really reaffirms for our NHS, for our brigades and everything like that, for all the procurement people that actually, wow, even in the tough times, we've now got a UK manufacturer we can actually rely on.
Yeah.
Because I bet they've not had that in so long because we've sent so much manufacturing abroad.
Yeah.
I imagine it's going to be really exciting in the next sort of 2 or 3 years to know that we've got great cost, money's going back into our economy, and it's reliable.
Yeah, and one of the things with us that is different to the other guys is, other fire appliance manufacturers in the UK, the body of the appliance, they used to be called bodybuilders. The body isn't manufactured by them. It's outsourced, and it's 100%, plastic. It tends to be in the UK now, and we manufacture from raw material, and the machinery that we're investing in and the improvements we're driving is to manufacture from raw material. Really, so
I did think when we had a couple of hours, maybe 8 years ago, they felt like they come out a bit of a crackerjack toy. Do you know what I mean? Some of the ones I was like, this ain't gonna last. This is not gonna last. Whereas it's great to see it shifting back. I was seeing some of the fabrications and some of the stuff you guys are doing here. I was quite surprised, to be honest. It's good to see it moving back that way. I was just worried it wasn't cost effective anymore, but it's great to see. I suppose there'll be savings there. I'm not going to get in depth of it, but you brought the manufacturing back here, so we're not sending it all over the globe anymore.
Yeah, and when you look at these global leaders, the way that they do it is to manufacture it from raw materials. So fair play to them for doing that. That's the way that it's the most efficient. They've got most control over their own evolution and innovation.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing. I didn't want to come into the market and be like everybody else. Just do what everybody else does, and
just changing the paint and
exactly
just do the same thing again.
Yeah, exactly. We genuinely want to drive it forward for the sake of the firefighter, number one, and then obviously for the taxpayer down the line.
Love it. Oliver, thanks so much for coming on the podcast today, brother. I really, really appreciate it.
Great to speak to you, Pete.
Send love to the family. I'll see you soon.
Cheers, buddy. See you in a bit.
How about that one, folks? What an incredible chat with Ollie. Such an inspiring guy. He's really gone through some serious stuff. That incredible passion Ollie has for UK manufacturing just really came through on that episode. I loved it. It's great to hear how this is coming back to the UK, money back in taxpayers' pockets. Now we've finally got pride in the things we're really great at. You are going to see huge things coming from Venari over the next few years in the emergency services market in the UK and further afield. Such a pleasure to be welcomed by the entire team, to really be taken in, shown around the factory, see the ambulances, the fire engines, all being made right there on UK soil. I cannot wait to see what these guys are going to be doing in 2021. It's going to be huge. Once again, as we head into the end of 2020, look after yourselves, guys. This is a really tricky time of year. I know a lot of the emergency services have got time away from their families, so please give that extra bit of support. Please look after yourself and stay safe in this really, really crucial time of the year. Stay happy, stay healthy, stay hungry, look after each other, support the emergency services, and we'll see you here real soon on the Firefighters Podcast.